god, I don't know why I'm so nervous for this video. Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. For those of you who aren't new to my channel, welcome back. And for those of you who are new to my channel, welcome to my channel, guys. My name is Liv. So for today's video, this is a tutorial that I have been beating around the bush and I have been meaning to film for the longest time. Like the longest time I have been meaning to film this. But I finally sat down and today I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get this video filmed and done for you guys today. I wanted today's video to be a video solely dedicated to eyeshadow for beginners, and if not beginners, just to teach you some tips and tricks on how to blend and eyeshadow application all in all. So I'm really dedicating this video to those of you who either are starting out in makeup, you maybe have never worn eyeshadow, you want to learn how to do eyeshadow. That is what this video is going to be all about. However, if you aren't necessarily new to makeup and eyeshadow isn't a totally new concept, you can still watch this video, and I really hope that you guys, even if you do already do makeup, I hope that you guys can learn a few tips and tricks and techniques from me. That's all I want from this video, is for you guys to learn. I feel as if lately YouTube has just been about the money. I'm not in it for the money. I'm not doing this video for the money. I'm not doing this channel for the money. I started my YouTube channel because I wanted to help teach you guys how to do makeup. Even though I may not have been the best when I started my YouTube channel, and I may not even be the best now. I know I'm not the best. I'm learning just as you guys are learning. It's a learning process and you learn as you go. That's what makeup is. However, I do know that over time I have improved my makeup skills drastically. I want someone out there who has never played with makeup or has been wanting to, or you know, maybe you got eyeshadow palettes for Christmas, your birthday, you know, gifts, and you just haven't touched them or you just don't know what to do with them. I want this video to be helpful to you guys, and I want you to learn a thing or two from this video, if not a lot. And I do quickly want to express that makeup is an art. But with that being said, I also do want to say that there is no right or wrong way to makeup. Everybody has their different ways of doing things, their different techniques, their different products, their different tools. Everything is different. Nobody does anything the same. So with that being said, this is just my techniques and my ways of doing eyeshadow. There is definitely other ways that it can be done. This is just the way that I do it. I just really hope that this can help you guys out there that want a little bit of help on when it comes to eyeshadow or blending, and that this can be informative to you guys. Already, just because I already know that this video is going to be long enough as it is already, I'm gonna go ahead and stop rambling and let's jump on into the tutorial. Alrighty, so I already went ahead and started off by priming my eyes. You really want to make sure before you go in to apply eyeshadow that you have your eyes primed, and there's different ways that you can do that. One being, you can use an eyeshadow primer. Urban Decay has eyeshadow primers, Too Faced has eyeshadow primers, NYX has a really good eyeshadow primer. There's a lot of different eyeshadow primers out there that you can use, and those are to just list a few. The second way that you can prime your eyelids is actually using a concealer, which is actually what I do. I use the Maybelline Fit Me concealer. I like the concealer because it's not too drying, but it's also not super oily. Since I am oily, I do try to tend to stay away from more oily or watery concealers. But yeah, so I apply the concealer onto my eyelids and then I let it set for a bit and then I blend it out. If you're just beginning with makeup or you're just beginning to play with eyeshadows a bit, I recommend that you set your eyelids with translucent powder. What this does is basically it sets a nice soft base for your eyeshadow. That way it'll be easier to blend. However, if you're not so new at makeup or eyeshadow, I actually recommend that you don't set your eyelids with translucent powder. I know that might sound super crazy, but I actually recommend that you don't use a translucent powder when doing your eyeshadow. I believe that when you don't use a translucent powder, it is a little bit more work that you have to put in. However, you get so much better of a color payoff. The colors are so much more pigmented, and you actually can see, you know, the difference between the color build up, and it doesn't just all completely blend together. Obviously, yes, you know, your look will come out blended, but all the colors don't just mix as one. If you get what I mean. I don't know if you get what I mean. I don't know, I just feel like sometimes whenever I'm doing my eyeshadow that the colors, I keep layering colors over color over color, and I just feel like the color doesn't change, And after I stopped setting my eyes with translucent powder, I felt like it was so much easier to see the difference between the different colors that I was using to build up that gradient. But let's go ahead and jump on into the shadow. So the main two palettes I'm going to be taking for the eyeshadow today is going to be the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill and the Morphe 3502. When it comes to the eyeshadow application, your products are very, very important. You want to make sure that you have not only good brushes, but a good eyeshadow palette. I know that eyeshadow palettes can be very pricey nowadays, and it seems like honestly drugstore eyeshadow palettes aren't that cheap either, at least for a good one. Personally, some of my favorite eyeshadow palettes are Morphe, and ever since they have kind of rebranded themselves, I feel like their eyeshadows are just so creamy and buttery and pigmented, and their Morphe shadows are honestly just so easy to blend. Morphe is a brand that I have been using for years now. They've definitely upped their game on their shadows when it comes to quality. The majority of their palettes are 35 shadows, which I think is amazing because I think 35 shadows is definitely more than enough to create a look. Also, Makeup Geek has really good shadows. Anastasia Beverly Hills has really great shadows. But honestly guys, whenever it comes to eyeshadow application, I definitely think that it is worth investing in a really good eyeshadow palette as to opposed to buying a cheaper eyeshadow palette and the colors are either not super pigmented, they're dusty, they just don't blend very well, you know. I think that it is worth investing in a good eyeshadow palette, and it will definitely be worth it in the long run. The Jaclyn Hill palette is $40 I believe, but that is like their most expensive palette. Morphe palettes range anywhere from $12 to $23. So honestly, I think they're a really good investment. And if you're looking for less than 35 shadows, because I know that when you open up a palette that has 35 colors, it can kind of be overwhelming. I know that ColourPop does have really good shadows as well. ColourPop has really upped their game, honestly. So when starting off my eyeshadow, what I like to do is I like to go in with a bone kind of creamy color, a light soft color to go in on my brow bone area. So I like to take a color there. The color that I usually go for, just because I don't have any like single shadows that are this light, I like to take Peaches and Cream from Too Faced. It's just a nice pretty peachy bone color, and I just take that with a like large shadow brush. This doesn't really have, it doesn't have a number on it because I've had this brush for years, I'm telling you guys. It's literally just a large, kind of fluffy, rounded, not completely oval kind of brush. So you can really just take any brush like that. So after going in with that kind of bone shade on my brow bone, then I'm going to be going in with the transition color. A transition color is kind of what it sounds like. It's a color that you apply basically kind of all over your eye, on the crease area and the upper lid, to literally transition your shadows to each other shadow after that. So for my transition color today, I'm going to be taking Silk Cream from the Jaclyn Hill and Morphe palette, and I'm going to be going in with a Makeup Shack T46 brush. As you can see, this brush is nice and big. It kind of tapers out as opposed to in, but it's just a nice super big and fluffy brush, and it's super soft. And since I did not set my eyelids with a translucent powder, you kind of want to go in and work in sections. So as you can see, I'm just dabbing it into the outside of my eyelid, and then I'll slowly go in and work my way to the inside of my eyelid. So after I am done applying the color all over the lid, then that's when you can go in and blend the color. And since the lids aren't set, you want to work in little tiny circular motions. You don't want to just automatically go in and windshield wiper motions, because that's just going to wipe your concealer or your primer everywhere, or it's just not going to blend right. So you want to blend in circular motions before you go in and do the windshield wiper motions. Also, when working with eyeshadow, you want to make sure that you don't put a crazy amount onto your brush. What I like to do is swipe my brush into the color, and then I'll tap it off either onto the palette or the mirror that I'm using. Because you can always build up your shadow, but you can't take off what's already there. So you don't want to put on too much shadow to where you can't blend it out, but rather you want to build it up that way that you can get the color that you want without overdoing it or without feeling that you messed up because you put too much pigment and now you're stuck and you can't blend it. So that's why it's very important to start off lightly, because you can always add on but you can't take it off. Then with that same Makeup Shack brush, I'm going to be taking this shade right here in the Morphe 3502, which is called Universal. The shade literally lives up to its name because it's one of the most universal shades, and I think it is the perfect transition and crease color. And as you may be noticing, I'm only placing the eyeshadow about halfway into my eye. I have a lot of lid space. My natural crease is very low, so whenever I do eyeshadow, I normally have to create a false crease and place it above, because if I place it too low, then you really wouldn't see any colors on my lid. So I'm kind of just taking that in the middle and I'm blending it up. I'm not so much blending it down, but I'm blending it up. Alrighty, so now that we've basically got the eye prepped with the transition colors, we're ready to move on to the next part of the eyes. So next I'm going to be taking this top middle shade of the 3502, which is called literally just tan. And I'm going to be going in with a Makeup Shack T93 brush. This one is a nice, it's kind of tapered and it's a blending brush. It's so fluffy, so it's so soft on the eyes. This color is going to be your crease shade. Your crease shade is literally going to go into this area here to where you open up your eyes. You will see it and it will look it will give a kind of shadowed effect. Like I said, I do have hooded eyelids, so for me, I do have to place it a little bit above my natural crease. If you have really hollowed out eyes, normally when you're applying a crease shade, you can see exactly where your crease shade is going to go. However, for me, I can't exactly see that just because my natural crease is so low, so I do apply my crease shades a little bit above. Alrighty, so where you're going to be placing this crease shade is literally where you began placing your transition color. However, with the crease shade, you're not going to be bringing it up as far as you were bringing your transition color. This one is going to stay more just in the center of the lid as opposed to dragging it up so far. But with that same brush, you also want to make sure that you blend out your shadows. So I'm just making little tiny circular motions. Alrighty, so now that we've got that crease color in there and we worked on tiny circular motions, I like to go in and create these kind of windshield wiper motions back and forth. As to why they're called windshield wiper motions, because as windshield wipers go back and forth, that's the technique that you're going to be using when you're blending it out the second time. So while I do these windshield wiper motions, I still make tiny circular motions within the windshield wiper motion. That way I'm blending while I'm blending, if that makes sense. Then I'm going to be going back in with that big fluffy brush that I used to set the transition color, and I'm going to be going back with that same brush and blending out the transition and the crease color. I'm not applying any more color to the brush, I'm just going back with the same brush, that way it'll already have kind of a little bit of that previous product, but I'm not adding any more product. So you just want to go in and blend out the transition with your crease color. That's just going to make sure that you have a nice gradient blend and your color doesn't look too harsh. Your crease color won't look too harsh. Alrighty, so next I'm going to be going in with the bottom left shade of the 3502. That shade is called Fawn. And I'm going to be taking my Makeup Shack T4 brush. This one, it's a pointy fluffy brush. It's not super tapered or blended, like not blended out, but it's not spaced out. It's literally just more pointy, so you can focus on the areas of the eye that you really want to place the product. And with just a tiny bit of product on the brush, just because that color is super pigmented. With that color, I'm just going to be focusing it on the outer corner of the eye. So I'm just going to be packing it on here. And then kind of blending it out already. This brush is super pointy, so you can work in the areas that you want, but it's also not super dense, so you can still blend out with this brush. So I am placing this on the outer corner of the crease, but also onto the outer part of your eyelid. And then slowly, without adding any more product to the brush, I'm just going to be dragging it to the inner part of my eye. Still blending it on the outer corner where it is originally placed, but I'm also going to be dragging it into towards the inner corner of the eye. There you go. Then next I'm going to be going in with a Morphe M441, which is a smaller pointed fluffy blending brush. And I'm going to be going in with the third shade from the top right here, which is called Orb. And I want to keep that kind of gradient effect, so now I'm just going in with a little bit of a brighter color to give that more pop and to also define the gradient a little bit more. And I'm going to be placing it on top of where you can see the darkest shadow and using my windshield wiper motions to blend that out. And this is not only just adding a different color to define the gradient a bit more, but it's also helping blend out that dark shadow that we just placed. And this part of the eye right here in the outer corner can also be known as the outer V or the outer C. It'll usually be the outer V, but that is because you place it onto the outer corner and you blend it down this way and you also blend it this way, so it creates that kind of V shape effect. And that's why if you hear the term outer V, that is what someone is referring to when doing a tutorial or an eye look. So I'm just continuing to drag and blend that color to the inner corner of the eye. Then I'm going to go back with that Makeup Shack T46 brush that I used for the transition shade at the very beginning of the look and just blend out all of those shadows now. Because now we've got a lot of shadows in there, a lot going on, so you want to make sure that they stay blended. The next I'm going to be taking my Morphe G10 brush, which is just a flat shadow brush. As you can see, it's flat. It's very soft and smooth, and I love it for picking up shimmers and pigments. And I'm going to be going in with the gold shade from the Jaclyn Hill palette, which is called Queen. And I'm going to be placing that into the inner part of my eyelid. And then I'm going to bring it about kind of halfway in. And so I'm packing on that shimmer shade. And then I'm going to kind of follow my crease. And since I have hooded eyelids, I'm going a little bit above my crease. But I'm placing this shadow on my lid. When you're applying a shimmer to the lid, you want to use a flat shadow brush as this one, just because they pick up the pigment really well. And it's super easy to place the shadow where you want it. And you can get little eyeshadow brushes like this from just about anywhere. e.l.f. has some really good ones. I just love Morphe. I feel like they're pretty affordable. Although if you're not an online type of buying person, then e.l.f. does have some really good flat shadow brushes. Alrighty, so as you can see, I just kind of brought that about 2/3 of the way in, and I placed it on my lid and kept it kind of under that darker crease color that we had and the outer V. So I'm going to be going in with my T4 brush again, which is that longer, skinnier, less fluffy blending brush. And I'm going to be going in and placing that onto the lid to blend it with the shimmery color, but also blend out the outer corner. And after you're done blending that edge, then you can go in and swipe it up across, just to make sure that it's also blended on the top as well. So next, to make sure that your eyes don't appear as kind of top heavy, you want to go in and apply some of the shadows that you applied on the top of your lid to the lower lash line. Your lower lash line is kind of self-explanatory. It is the bottom of your eye where your lower lashes grow. So for the lower lash line, sometimes I like to actually go in with the darker shade first and then go in with the more medium, lighter shade to get a nice soft blend. So I'm going to be taking the shade from the left corner, which was Fawn, and I'm taking that with just a little square brush that I have. This one's from Morphe. It doesn't have any number on it, but just a little square flat brush. And I'm taking that literally onto the lower lash line. Then I'm going to go in with a Makeup Shack T73, which is a smaller, tiny, pointy, fluffy brush. And I'm going to be going back in with that tan shade. So I'm going to use this shade to blend out and kind of smoke out the lower lash line. And this is going to help blend that other darker color that we already placed on the lash line. Then for the inner corner of the eyes, I like to place a bright shimmery shadow. I like to do this because I feel like it just gives your eyes that much more of a pop and more emphasis, and I feel like it just makes your eyes stand out more, and it just draws attention to your eyes. So for that inner corner highlight, I'm going to be taking this shade from the Jaclyn Hill palette, which is called Beam, and I'm going to be taking that on a super dense brush. It's a super pointy dense brush. I have this brush from my Naked Smoky palette, and what I like to do to make sure that it just really pops, I like to spray it with a setting spray. So I'm just going to be taking my Morphe setting spray and just spraying that just a little. Okay, well that came out a lot, but just a little. And I sprayed it as it already had the shadow on it, and then I like to just dab and give it one more touch into the palette. And I'm going to be placing that literally on that tear duct area. And as you can see, it already makes that much more of a difference. So I'm literally placing it in the inner corner on the tear duct area, and then kind of bringing it up and underneath to the lower lash line. But yeah, I believe that is all for the eyes. As you can see, it's just kind of a soft but also gradient effect with a pop in the inner corner. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply some mascara and some lashes off camera, and then I will be right back. So I went ahead and applied some liner and lashes off camera, finished my face up. I wasn't actually going to apply liner. I was just gonna put my mascara and lashes on, but then I just kind of looked over and I just saw it and I just looked at it. And it was just calling my name. And I was just like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. And I just kept looking at it. And it was just calling my name. You know, like when you're supposed to be dieting and you see that piece of chocolate cake and it's like, you know you want to. You know you wanna. Yeah, that's how my eyeliner spoke to me. That is it for today's tutorial, you guys. I really hope that this video could be helpful and informative to you guys, especially for you guys who may be either just starting out with makeup or you're barely starting to dabble out and play with eyeshadows. I really hope that this video was very helpful for you guys and that you learned a lot from this video. Or maybe if eyeshadow isn't a totally new concept to you, I hope that you at least learned a few new tips and tricks or learned about some brushes a little bit more. I just really hope that this video was helpful to you guys. I liked filming this video and I really hope that it helps someone out. And maybe if it didn't help you out tons, maybe you know somebody that it can help out and you can share this video with them. All I truly want from this video is just one person out there. Just one person out there. I just want to know that this video helped one person out there either learn a lot about the eyeshadow application or just help somebody learn new tips and tricks. I want one person out there watching this video to feel 100 times more confident and to grab an eyeshadow palette and start playing and start blending. That is all that I want from this video, is to teach you guys, and I hope that I accomplished that in this video. And let me know if you like this kind of video. I definitely plan on doing a lot of more in-depth tutorials and how-to videos like this. So if you like this video, please do not forget to give it a thumbs up down below, and also hit the subscribe button and subscribe to my channel if you are not subscribed already. And also make sure to hit the notification bell, that way you will be notified whenever I upload a new video. Again, I really hope that you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and until next time, bye my loves.